Afternoon. On behalf of Dr. Juliet Skinner, Anna Hosford and the staff, welcome to the Barbados Fertility Centre as we celebrate 20 years of making dreams come true. My name is Susan McCollin-Davey and I have the pleasure of heading up the operation here at the Fertility Clinic. I'd like to formally welcome the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honourable Mia Amor-Montley. We're incredibly privileged that you've joined us today for our 20-year celebrations. Thank you. We'd like to extend a very special welcome to the WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus. Thank you. We'd also like to welcome the Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honourable G.P. Ian Goodin-Edgell, the Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Senator Lisa Cummins. We are expecting the Chief Medical Officer and the Deputy Chief Medical Officer are yet to arrive, but we welcome them in their absence. As well as our wonderful guests here at Seaston House and the thousands of people watching us virtually around the world and the invited press and media. Before we start our proceedings, a little housekeeping. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, so we ask that you adhere to COVID protocols and wear your mask at all times unless you're eating or drinking or standing here behind the mic. I would also like you to note your nearest exit in the event of an emergency, which is straight through this door and to your left. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I now invite our co-founder and medical director of the Barbados Fertility Centre, the Honourable Dr. Juliet Skinner.
Thank you, Susan. 20 years ago, a thought soon became a vision of creating a world-class IVF unit on the small island of Barbados, which clearly had too small a population to possibly support such a venture. But our vision was global. Create a great clinic and patients would come to us. Simple, right? As we celebrate 20 years, let us reflect on a few milestones in the journey from conception to reality. In the beginning, while consultations were year-round, piggybacked onto my obs and gynae practice, we were able to function with batch and IVF, which allowed us to have lab staff at intervals during the year and not year-round. By 2004, the growth was significant enough that we then had a full team on-site year-round. In 2005, we saw significant growth and development of patients from the region and internationally. This led to us being featured globally and in assorted newspapers and articles on medical tourism. By now, 85% of our patients were non-residents of Barbados. 2005 also marked our big move into Seaston House, a property that was purpose renovated to meet our needs and allow a single site clinic. In 2007, I was speaking at the World Medical Tourism Conference in Singapore when it became eminently apparent that international accreditation would be huge moving forward. That year, we became the first CARICOM ambulatory centre or hospital to receive the gold seal of approval from JCI. And Joint Commission International is the largest healthcare accreditation body in the world. This was then and is at every reaccreditation and triennial process that we go through, a huge achievement. In 2009, we opened a satellite clinic in Trinidad, BFCT. In 2019, we opened another full IVF clinic in Cayman, CFC. Needless to say, that small initial team of 4 now stands at 45 and is set to reach over 50 within the next few months. With growth, we adapted the infrastructure framework required to support this type of healthcare both internally and externally. There have been huge scientific advances in the IVF field which have been implemented to allow us to stay cutting edge. Over the past 20 years, we have seen extended culture from day 3 to day 5, or blastocyst, become the standard. There have been major advances in incubator technology. The cryopreservation breakthrough of vitrification ultimately paved the way for the highly successful egg freezing that we see today. And over the last number of years, major advances in genetic diagnostic possibilities on embryos using PGT-A and M technologies further improved the odds of success. For any entity achieving 20 years speaks for itself. It's proof of a strong foundation laid at startup and proof of stability of any entity or clinic in our case to handle curveballs and disruptors. And my goodness, a global pandemic was one heck of a curveball. To a clinic where 90% of our patients do not live on the island of Barbados but have to travel to us for treatment. But we can proudly say that not only did we weather that storm, but we in fact are busier than ever. Now it's 2022 and 20 years in. We must also prepare for the future and strategically ensure that BFC is on track to celebrate its 30th and 40th anniversaries to come. Today we would like to thank all those who have played a role in this achievement. Let us start with government, and specifically the ministries of both health and tourism. I still remember sitting in the boardroom in the Ministry of Health in 2002 with the then Minister of Health, Jerome Walcott, and discussing the project, and was truly impressed as a Barbadian, his openness and support that we received both then in the months and subsequent years ahead. To both Kenneth and Anton, who I know are not right now here, I think there's a huge thanks that the last couple of years we've had way more interaction than possibly before. And despite the Ministry of Health being hugely burdened by the pandemic, they have always taken my call or responded to my email. And that's been fantastic. And as always, we are here to support you as a Ministry of Health back in any way that we ever can. To the Honourable PM, as you know, I was taken by surprise when you rang to tell me about your choice of awarding me the Order of the Republic. I remain hugely honoured. Thank you. To our staff, both past and present, you have all played a part in the growth and development of BFC and who we are today. Thank you. To Anna, co-founder, thank you for taking the leap 20 years ago to move country and work with me to develop what we proudly celebrate today. To my family and friends who have supported me, thank you. And to my darling daughter, Erin, I'm so proud to have you with me today. Last and most importantly, to the thousands of patients, thank you for choosing and entrusting BFC with providing the medical care that you needed to achieve your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. We now welcome to speak next our co-founder and clinical director of the centre, Anna Hosford.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. You're very welcome today. In every partnership, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And Dr. Skinner's strength has always been her public speaking. So thank you for doing that today. And always being that person who leads the way on that. And being a great colleague and a friend over the years. We've had our ups and downs, but it's been an amazing journey. So thank you. You're a great doctor. To the Prime Minister, I'm Irish. I call myself Bi-Irish because I'm half Bayesian, half Irish after living here 20 years. Creating a whole nationality of my own over here. But I just want to say that living in this country under your leadership has been amazing. Your energy and your vision, your honesty and your integrity is an inspiration to women and girls in Barbados and across the Caribbean. And on behalf of myself and my daughter, I would just want to say thank you. Okay, so two really important people in my life asked me when I was going to speak today, what was I going to speak about? I said I didn't have a clue, obviously, because it's not my forte, it's Dr. Skinner's. But when I reflected on it, they said, just say what it means to you. And what Barbados Fertility Centre means to me is family. We wouldn't be standing here today if my father and Juliet's father hadn't given us a loan. My dad passed away 11 years ago, but he would be so proud today of what we have achieved. And thank you to William Hosford and John Skinner for that opportunity that they gave us to stand here today 20 years later. My family in Ireland, who have always been there for me, my mum and my brothers and my sisters, and my fiancé Barry and my daughter Eliana, who really have been the people who have listened, supported. We've had our ups and downs. We had a few Zika ups and downs and the pandemic. But other than that, we have really grown every year from strength to strength. And we're really, really happy and thankful to the support that we got from our families along the way. And then to our patients, thank you for getting on a plane and coming and giving us the opportunity to help you have a family. We're really honoured. We work really hard every day to help you achieve a family. It's what the pictures that you send us and the thank yous that we get, even when people are not successful, because we can't get everybody pregnant, unfortunately. But the emails that we get to say thank you, you gave us hope, you gave us a family. Today we got an email from somebody who sent us the picture of their 18-year-old. And we're not just creating babies, we're creating human beings that go on to make a difference and change the world. And you know, thank you for allowing us to do that. We have thousands of babies born from Barbados Fertility Centre that may not have been here if it wasn't for our expertise in our clinic. So we're honoured to have been part of your journey. And as I said, family was the theme that came to mind. And our Barbados Fertility Centre team is our family. In 20 years, like every family, we've had divorces, separations, people leaving, people coming, fights and tears, happiness, laughter, Christmas parties, and so much along the way. So many amazing people who were on our team that travelled from halfway across the world to join us, to make a difference, because they saw the ethos and they believed in our dream. And thank you for taking that journey with us over all the years. And then to the people that we have here today that turn up every day to do their very best for our patients. And there's going to be plenty of people out there that join our team we haven't even met yet. But the most important thing is that, you know, this patient made this for us. And they hand-rolled every single bit of paper to make this for us. And it says the heart of fertility care. And our team at Barbados Fertility Centre are the heart of our clinic. And I want to thank them sincerely for getting us to this point, Dr. Skinner and myself, leading them. But they have been there through thick and thin, turning up every day in ash, in hurricanes, in anything that could happen. Our team were there for the patients. And we thank you. So Barbados Fertility Centre, 20 years and 20 more years. Thank you.
Sorry, I have to keep removing this. So, to us at Barbados Fertility Centre, patient care is at the core of the company's ethos. For that reason, we wanted to have a patient to speak on behalf of all the warriors who have walked through the doors of Seaston House. Please welcome our patient, Lisa Taylor.
breath. Because like you, I'm not much of a speaker, but I'll try my best. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to your 20th anniversary celebration of the Barbados Fertility Clinic. I am truly honored to be considered part of this special family at BFC, not as part of the wonderful medical team or administrative team, but as a patient and forever advocate to anyone who has or is experiencing infertility. While my journey with infertility started some time ago, it is an experience in one's life that even with time doesn't get tucked away in your distant memory. Like many other couples, a few years after my husband and I settled into married life, the baby fever and that ominous time clock to expand our family was in full swing. We were both in our early 30s and excited for the next happy chapter in our life. We were always jokingly and lightheartedly told that the baby-making days will be fun, you know, and before you know it, you'll be welcoming your little ones. Well, it turns out our journey to expand our family would not be so easy. After a few months of trying to conceive naturally with no positive results, we were always reassured and comforted by our family and friends who have families of their own that, never mind, keep trying. You know, the first pregnancy can take a while. I thought surely this is the case, as neither of us had any unknown infertility issues in our immediate families. As a matter of fact, my mom always used to joke growing up that you just had to wink at her and she would be pregnant. So we kept trying and trying. After just about a year and starting to feel a bit defeated and concerned, I took to the internet and tried to research all things when trying to conceive. The more I read, the more I realized that maybe we needed to perhaps get all of our parts checked out and make sure they were functioning as they should, and in general, just seek some medical information and confirmation on our concerns. Well, it was at this time that we started our journey at the Barbados Fertility Clinic. Honestly, from the time we walked in the door and were greeted warmly to our first consultation with Dr. Skinner, we knew we had made the right decision to come to BFC. Infertility can present itself in many ways and for a number of reasons, and for each person the treatments and results will vary. But for all of us that has walked or is walking through this process, it can be a lot. It is the unknown while holding on to hope and faith. For so many, it is hard to talk about on any level. It was for me as well, until I was given the opportunity by the Barbados Fertility Clinic to share my short story on their media platform as a past patient and my experience through the clinic. It was through that video and after it was published that I realized how many people I touched by just sharing. Between the personal messages from other infertility warriors from as far as other countries, or feeling like a mini celebrity and being recognized and approached at my restaurant, Nauru, by other couples that are visiting our shores for treatment, and best of all of the lovely new friendships I have made. I realized that allowing myself to be vulnerable, my story, my voice, helped others to continue their journey of hope. It may take many steps, highs and lows, and loads of tears, to eventually welcome your little miracle. But I am testimony to that miracle becoming a reality. I would once again like to thank the so many wingless angels right here in this room that help patients and families like myself fulfill our dreams of becoming mummies and daddies. Thank you.
We're going to have a little slight detour of our order of events but this is exceptionally exciting because the WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, would like to share some words. Thank you, sir.
I was invited by Her Excellency, the Prime Minister, to accompany her, and I was really honored to do that, but I didn't expect that I would speak, but I would be happy to speak. And thank you so much, Your Excellency. I'm really glad. I think Anne said it all, your energy, your vision, your integrity, I mean, everything. And your leadership on climate, health, especially your global leadership, the AMR seeds, such a proud moment for me actually to be associated with you for some time now and see your leadership in action. So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm here at her invitation to attend tomorrow's event, and this is my first time, but I'm really, really happy to be here. And I believe that I am at home. Then congratulations to BSF. Happy 20th anniversary. And also congratulations because of the, the recognition you have globally from the Joint Commission International, the JCI. That's the badge of excellence. And also, congratulations because not only you're serving Barbados, but you're serving many from around the world, including from Europe, the US, and the whole North America, and that's because of your standard, and the center of already has become a center of excellence. So congratulations for that. But maybe from one of the blogs I read about you, I think I forgot the name of the patient who had just spoke, Lisa. Like Lisa, they were sharing their experience, and as Anna said, of course, you cannot have 100% access. You may not be able to help everybody to be pregnant, but the success rate is really high. And this person said, because of the high success rate, Barbados, and this is, as Lisa said, because of the wingless angels who are working here, from Susan to Juliet to Anna and everybody. And then maybe a few things I would like to say globally. Globally, the estimate is 48 million couples actually experience this problem, and 186 million individuals. So it's very serious. So that's one problem. The problem is already big. But the other problem is, although this should be part of the basic health services, right to individuals, citizens, countries don't include it in their health services. So you don't see it in many countries' national health plan. So the attention is low, although the problem is big. And there is a gender inequality component in it also. When there is infertility, automatically it's the female that's blamed. And then there is the stigma, the isolation and everything. It's not just not having a baby. There are many problems that are associated with it. So helping and giving service in fertility means many things. It's not just having a baby and having a child. So these are the challenges, the three challenges I would like to outline. The magnitude of the problem, lack of attention by many countries, and also the other dimensions of the problem in the society. Then what's WHO doing? We support in research, policy formulation, guidelines from prevention, diagnosis, and treatment, and so on, and especially advocating also for countries to give it attention. So having said this, I have just one ask maybe going forward. Reading about your work, getting information from colleagues about your work. I think documenting this experience of the last 20 years would be very important. And sharing it with other countries could be part of our advocacy to show countries that this is possible. It can be done. So if you agree, you should think about it. Of course, we would be happy to document your experience and share it with the rest of the world so others can benefit and use your experience as a model. But finally, congratulations again, and look forward to working with you. And thank you so much to my dear sister for inviting me, and I'm really glad to be with you, and such a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are quite quickly coming to the end of the formal, but this event would not absolutely end without us having our Honourable Prime Minister, Mia Montley, giving us remarks and doing the unveiling for us at the end of that. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Director General, Dr. Tedros, my dear brother, it is so good to have you in Barbados. Colleague ministers, and of course, Dr. Skinner, Ms. Horsford, distinguished guest Didier, good to see you. It's a very special moment for me because when you come from a small island, the most important thing is for you to be able to establish global excellence. And this clinic represents global excellence. That we have been able to have you sustain it here for 20 years in spite of the pandemic, in spite of the difficulties in the early years, is a major achievement, and we really are grateful for it. And hence the Order of Republic, when it came, was not by accident. But we have a tagline, Dr. Tedros, for our nation, that we want to be able to produce global citizens with Bajan roots. And that's why, as I said, this is such an important event for me, because this is not just an example of something that was achieved yesterday, but that you have been able to achieve it and sustain it. When we were downstairs waiting, and we looked at the map of the world, and for every country from which you have helped somebody, there's a pin. And it is from Hong Kong to Mauritius, from Kenya and Nairobi, right back through to Central America, North America, and Europe, of course, as you've said, really have been those countries that have sent the most. But this country has been a country from its modern settlement in the post-1625 period that has always had the opportunity to be able to treat to medical tourism. Many people are aware that George Washington only visited one country in the world outside of the United States of America, and that is Barbados. But many people do not know the reason for his visit. And the reason for his visit, of course, was to be able to ensure that his brother, who was suffering from respiratory problems, could be brought to Barbados to recover in this climate. I say this because it is important that we appreciate that one of the core parts of our ability to serve ourselves and to serve the world is our ability to be able to treat the medicine. On this small rock, we've perfected also the art with respect to public health, and a strong tradition of it going back for more than 100 years. Yesterday in Parliament, I had cause to refer to it again, that the major public health experts of the Caribbean have really come from out of Barbados. Sir George Allen, who became Director General of Pan American Health Organization, Sir Ken Stewart, Sir Kenneth Standard, all of them would have helped us. But beyond the public health, we felt that it is important for us now to be able to lay claim to areas within medicine proper, but life sciences generally. Our government, therefore, has taken the decision to be able to go after, in an aggressive way, new opportunities in the life sciences industry. You cannot have educated on 166 square miles, 6,000 people in sciences with only limited opportunities of teaching for them. And to that extent, it is our commitment to move in this way. Dr. Tedros, tomorrow you will also, or day after tomorrow, Friday, you'll get to visit the Barbados Santos lab, which was done for us with the cooperation of the United States government and others. At that lab, that is what has been able to allow us to get through this pandemic seamlessly over the course of the last 2 years. Without prejudice to that, we also, as a government, invested and have started putting aside sums of money for a living lab, because we believe that that is only but one component of what our laboratory services must be developed to do. And to that extent, therefore, we are working hopefully in partnership with the University of the West Indies. And Dr. Juliet's last name now is again, not this one. Went to school with me, that's half the problem. Daniel, Dr. Juliet Daniel, whose father was one of the mentors of Sir Garfield Sobers. Juliet is one of the few Barbadian scientists who comes back regularly, and she would have been responsible for the discovery of the Calypso gene, which is one of the genes used as a tracer in triple-negative breast cancer. And therefore, we have been reaching out to Barbadians wherever they are, because we believe that we have now to expand the footprint that we have with respect to research, with respect to laboratory services, with respect to life sciences generally. So that what you are doing here is just but one part of where this country must present itself on the spectrum with respect to medical and biotechnology generally. I hope that one day, soon, that we can also speak about us being able to ensure that the issues of vaccine inequity will never attend to this region again. And for that to happen, it means that there has equally to be a strong movement towards our being able to establish vaccine manufacturing and bottling plants in this part of the world. And our government is actively pursuing these matters. With respect to what you really do here, you make families whole. And I think that was one of the points that you were trying to get through. Human beings exist ultimately to be able to relate to their family, to be able to sustain their families, to be happy. And that's why, Dr. Tedros, what is happening in your own region in Tigray is of such tragic proportions, because we genuinely believe that the world is not paying sufficient attention to that, and the fact that there is a veritable humanitarian crisis, that whatever else your politics is, the humanitarian crises in the Ukraine, in Tigray, in Syria, in Yemen, and even what is happening in Haiti, which is as a result of the instability, that these are things that we must come literally to address if we are going to ensure that we reduce the level of human suffering. But you do it here in your own micro way, because the pressure that is put on families for the inability of them to be able to have their own children is of such grave proportions, as you know, that in some instances people can't focus back on what they need to do in life. And Lisa, that's why I thank you for your courage. I say all the time that we only get somewhere when people risk themselves. And today you risked yourself, and by sharing your story, I'm sure that you will impact on a few people, not just in Barbados, but globally, who will say that we can do it too, and who will then get the courage to step forward. That you have done it in a way that has received the international accreditation and maintained it, that you have done it in a way that has brought medical tourism to a center for us, and having people visiting here in the seamless way in which it happens. All of this brings pride and honor to our country, but importantly, foreign exchange and jobs as well. So that we look forward to working with you to see how in any way we can continue to help you expand and to be able to attract other types of medical services as well as medical tourism generally. our population is only 300,000. And if we limit ourselves to the 300,000 here, we would never be able to have either the scale or the depth of services. And that is why we see Barbados as a global domicile for the provision of medical services. We can accommodate you from anywhere in the world. And once we continue to grow out this range of services, then I have every confidence that that which we have invested over the years in our people will bring the return which we need. And I look forward to that. As it relates, Dr. Tedros, and I will do so in front of this audience today, you have asked me to help with the issue of the One Health Global Initiative with my colleague, sister, Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And we look forward. In fact, had it not been for the Delta virus, we would have, as a committee, met here in November last year. The reports have now come out showing that more than 1.2 million people a year die as a result of an inability to fight the superviruses that are now prevalent all over the world. This is not good, and therefore our attention on it is to both increase the level of investment in research to be able to ensure that we will have the therapeutics, the pharmaceuticals that can fight these viruses, but secondly, that it will also hopefully raise awareness so that the practices, whether they are from human beings over-abusing, or abusing I should say, antibiotics, or whether it is industrial livestock, or whether it is people with plants and crops, food crops, and then of course the runoff into the earth and into the water system. All of these are things that we have control over. And to the extent, therefore, that we have control over it, our advocacy must remain high, but equally our ability to influence those who have the ability to direct investment in research, as well as to determine the practices that people use, whether in clinics throughout the world, or whether in, as I said, industrial livestock production or food production. Why? It struck me in our very first meeting when both yourself, Dr. Tedros, and the head of the FAO and OIE, and all of you reinforced the fact that if we don't get this right, we are going to reverse a century of medical progress. And that we take it for granted that we can go to the dentist, and if something happens, and you have an infection, the antibiotics will take. You have an extraction, they give you antibiotics for that. You want to have a baby, having a baby, the risk of infection before you had antibiotics, the high rate of mortality for childbearing was perhaps unacceptable. We do not want the world to go back to that stage, and we certainly don't want it to happen in Barbados. I know where I speak. My brother died from sepsis last year, and had we had the kinds of therapeutics that could fight off that, he may well still be living today. So, as I said, this is a matter that we treat too seriously. 1.2 million people dying a year is too high a number. And therefore, I hope that our advocacy and our cause, and just not mine, but I speak about it each time because I want, just like with this clinic, word of mouth to carry the message. You have benefited from word of mouth carrying the message. And once you give good service or you have a strong message, word of mouth doesn't need a lot of fuel to move. And I hope, therefore, that we can look forward to others joining the cause with us on this One Health Global Initiative to fight these battles that will affect children and grandchildren of all of us sitting here. So congratulations to you. We pass here every day almost and don't realize what serious work is being done in such a small footprint on a small island. But you have made us proud, and we thank you and all of your staff who obviously display a level of professionalism that is something for the rest of our country to emulate. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
So thank you all again for being here with us. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to have some small groups. Unfortunately, we're in mid-cycle. So our lab, we have loads of embryos in there. We need to keep that place, as you would imagine, safe. So we've created a presentation, and our lab manager and our embryologists are in the back, and we're going to take you through into groups of 3 to have a little presentation and a little, if you would like, to have a look at some samples through a microscope. And we will start that with... Oh, I do apologise, sorry. I skipped a bit. I absolutely skipped a bit. But that will happen afterwards. What we have to present to you is a short video from our patients across the world. So please bear with us. That will be followed by a toast, and then we will move into the lab area.
Can you say happy?
Happy.
Anniversary?
Happy.
Barbados. Say Barbados.
Petamangos.
So in 2002, when we established the clinic here in Barbados as Barbados Fertility Centre, I have to say that I'm not sure we thought that 20 years later we'd be standing here to celebrate this important milestone. To have achieved what we've achieved, and to have helped so many people along the way to achieve their dream of having a family, and put together this amazing team that we work with to do the very best for patients over the years.
I know, and all the thousands of patients that we met over the years from all over the world. We have babies in Hawaii, Hong Kong, Australia, all over America and Europe. It's just been an incredible journey.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Barbados Fertility Clinic, 20 years. Thank you for everything you've given us and so many families.
We would love to be there celebrating with you, but the impending arrival of BFC baby number 3 is not making that not possible.
Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy anniversary, BFC! We love you guys!
I cannot thank you enough for this gift, and I wish you all the very best.
I'm so proud of Dr. Skinner and Anna for all that you've achieved over the last 20 years.
Yay!
Happy birthday, BFC! I love you guys so much. You all have done amazing things for people from all over the world and right here in Barbados, and for me as well.
Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy birthday, BFC!
We are so grateful for you because we have our miracle baby, Miss Vivian. And without you, we would not be parents. So thank you so much.
Happy anniversary,
BFC! Love you!
Today we are celebrating with you. Thank you so much for your love and kindness and the hope that you bring to so many. Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, BFC! We love you!
Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy birthday, BFC!
Happy birthday, BFC.
Happy anniversary!
Our journey with IVF was not an easy one to start. However, from our first screening call to the birth of our little girl Riley, the BFC staff has always been there for us.
Thank you, Barbados. Huh? I don't see roots. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, BFC! We love you!
It's really been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure, for the last 20 years to help everybody along the way.
So thank you. So now, as I said, what we're going to do, we'd like to invite the Prime Minister, Dr. Tedros, and the Minister of Health and Wellness first to go through to the lab and have a presentation.
Bring it through for the first one, and then we'll get the toast after.
And then I'll get back.
start with a consultation of our patients with their doctor, which is going to determine exactly what route we're taking. Hormone stimulation, which is to create as many eggs as possible to maximize chances. Oocyte retrieval and sperm collection. Fertilization, embryo culture, and ultimately embryo transfer and waiting for the pregnancy test. So this is a human oocyte. This is a mature human oocyte. This is what we have after the egg collection, and this is human sperm. We have two ways of fertilizing eggs. One is called conventional IVF, which is when we don't have a male factor, which is basically putting eggs and sperm in a dish and let them do their thing. And when we do have a male factor, we physically have to put the sperm in the egg. So this is basically what we do. It's a little short video. So we have the egg, we have the sperm in the pipette, and you will see it traveling towards the egg. It's a little subtle, it's right there. And then we aspirate a little bit of the cytoplasm to make sure that the membrane is broken to maximize chances of fertilization. So fertilization occurs 16 to 18 hours after what you saw. This is what we see on day 1, which is the day after egg collection. This is the sign of successful fertilization of the egg. And then we monitor the embryos for 5 to 6 days, depending on the case. You see on day 2, the embryos are at the 4-cell stage. Day 3, they have reached the 8-cell stage. And then on day 5, you see these beautiful blastocysts from our lab, may I add, that are actually the stage of the embryo that we usually do the transfer. So you can see the part of the embryo that's going to form the fetus, which is like the mass of cells in the middle, and the rest of the cells are going to form the placenta. The embryo transfer is a simple procedure. So we just use a catheter, we load the embryos at the end, and then we go through the cervix to the uterus and expel the embryos, usually day 5 of culture. If we have more embryos than the ones that we use, we are able to freeze them. We use liquid nitrogen for that. It's actually minus 196 degrees Celsius. They can remain frozen indefinitely. We have many successful pregnancies from frozen embryos. And before we freeze the embryos, what we do is we actually collapse with a small laser shot. So the embryo is expelling the fluid, which helps with successful fertilization. Vitrification. As Dr. Skinner said, we do here pre-implantation genetic testing, which is for patients that are older or patients that have a specific gene disease that want to screen the embryos for. And this is done by biopsying a small amount of cells in the embryo. This is what we do here. So again, you can see the mass of cells that is going to form the fetus. We stay away from that as far as possible. We just aspirate a few cells from the placental side. And again, using laser shots, we're going to remove these cells and send them to the genetics lab for analysis. So again, we cannot go in the lab, so just a few shots from in there. So you can see our laminar flows and our incubators. These are incubators that are operating in low oxygen conditions. So we are trying to imitate the environment of the uterus. And this is it from our side, and this is my team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So if you're interested, we actually have a sperm sample here to see under the microscope. It's pretty interesting if you have never seen it before. Just to say that we are actually scientific in here.
Wants to appear down there, they can.
Tedros.
Okay, that's fine. I can adjust it.
We're actively in culture, so we could really tour the lab.
That's right. But the pre-implementation genetic testing is, how old is it?
10 years.
Yeah, but I know
But the techniques have
you
moved.
didn't have it.
So quickly in terms of the base pairs, you can tell the difference between sequencing is done totally for me.
Thank you.
Don't mind they're small, they're mighty. Exactly. All it needs, all you need is might. That's all. You can see them like moving around. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh my god. They're like little ants, it's just so many of them. And that's only a small drop.
Interesting brains.
No, I know it's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. She's amazing. She's amazing.
There are support.
Well, I would want to raise a toast to the owners, to the staff, and of course to the patients whose lives have all been enriched by this experience. It's one thing to make money, but when you can make money while making other people happy, then that is the true mark of great business. So here to 20 years and more.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.
Cheers. Dr. Skinner. Hi there. Cheers. Cheers. I don't think I cheers you.
That's fine. So what we will do now we can come through with like some of our